Dr David Cumin here from the Israel Institute of New Zealand, and joining me is Hila Oren from the Tel Aviv Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your time. Hila Oren has a BA and MBA from Tel Aviv University, has studied at the Harvard Kennedy School and is finishing her PhD in geography. A very accomplished woman, the CEO of the Tel Aviv Foundation. Hila, tell us a little bit about your PhD and the Tel Aviv Foundation.
Well, actually, if you'd asked me 10 years ago would I have a PhD, I would never go into it. But after I started working with the Tel Aviv municipality and my passion for cities just started growing and growing, I felt that we're learning together, me, my team, and the citizens, the story of Tel Aviv as a journey. And I shouldn't leave it just about learning, but I should actually give it a support with a methodology way, and this is why I enjoyed the decision. That's why I made the decision of going to a PhD, and also I think that once I hand it in and it'll be published, others can use it, because we did such a long way until we got the answers. And I talked to cities all over the world. Everybody's struggling with how are we doing this urban development? What is the right way to do it? How should we brand it? The whole issue of logos and slogans, it's not about that. It's all about city making and place making and building a new reality. And I thought that issue is interesting enough for me to go and research that. I didn't mention before, but maybe I should mention now, my thesis in business school was getting over barriers for women into business, why women don't open business. And this was like, in a way, jumping and doing the branding later for Tel Aviv as Startuppers is the mirror to that question, like what are the barriers into private business and for women, right. And what is the startup ecosystem and startup culture and
fascinating.
Yeah, it's like the road took me. If you would tell me 30 years ago that this would be the road and I'd find myself over here in Oakland University talking to you about this, I would tell you, no, you're crazy. Because when I left Tel Aviv University Business School, 1997, I graduated, I said, never again is my foot going to touch. I can't, exactly, because it was so hard in Tel Aviv. They're very strict, the business school. And the thesis was like, with a spoon, they took my heart out. Wow. Okay, so, but this was, again...
That's the reward you get from the pain you have to go through.
So this was interesting enough. And then maybe to share another story with you was that when I went to Harvard in 2016, I went on a Israeli leaders group. And until then, I thought that I'm a professional and I work for the city as a professional, and the politicians are the leaders, and we need to work together, like to support them with the professional tools. Once I came to Harvard and learned in Kennedy School for Leadership, there was a fascinating class there about leadership that told the story of Shackleton. I don't know if you're aware. Well, this is something that...
New Zealand Shackleton?
Yeah, New
Really?
Zealand Shackleton, yes.
Our explorer.
Exactly, exactly. And over there, and I never knew who Shackleton is. It was like a new story for me. But what was so interesting about that story is that Shackleton, as a manager, did the wrong decision. He took the ship with his team through the wrong way, and he, after 2 days, should have realized that, see the red lights and red bells and go back. But we won't go into it why he didn't, ego and things like that. He didn't. But the interesting and fascinating thing that I learned, and since I'm like, my mind is blowing, is that he understood that he's a leader and now he needs to get his people back alive. And after half a year, he did something that I think no one else, I wouldn't be able to do that. He brought his people back alive. And that was not about it was not about his mission, it was about his leadership. And at that moment in Harvard, I understood that I'm a professional manager, but I'm also a leader. And if I want to make changes, I have to take leadership, not only interesting decisions. And then, that was 2016, and then I find myself last year in Christchurch with the gateway to Antarctica in the room of Shackleton. So
Wow,
It is
full
like,
circle.
exactly. So like, I get this and I said, wow, the thing that really influenced me so much is the explorer and the leader as a manager for any organization. For me, I take it to the city, is actually over there I understood that Christchurch should take as a city the explorer's identity. And I just reached it out to them. I said, look, I'm here and I'm going around and I understand. And I think you should, just like for Tel Aviv or startups, you are the explorers. People from all over the world, Sir Edmund Hillary, the 4 ships, you're all explorers. And now it's all the aerospace, the Zaffa, the Google balloons, you're all explorers. The air there, it's all explorers. And you know what surprised me? They took it. And I got a mail in January saying me how they changed their whole it's mind-blowing. Yeah, they went with it and they changed their whole strategy of the city to explorers, and they invited me now to be the thinker in residence to do that work with them. So I'm like now 6 weeks working on the explorers thing. So for me, it's mind-blowing. It's how a professional can be a leader, can change things.
Okay, so I want to slow the truck down a little bit.
Okay.
Some people might not realise that you are the thinker in residence for Christchurch City.
Mm-hmm.
It's a relatively new appointment. And what you're saying is it came out of a trip down here, an idea session,
I just
you bringing together what you've seen and then running with it and thinking, Hila's got something that we can benefit from, we've got to bring it down here. So how long are you spending in Christchurch?
6 weeks. Last time when I was here last year on the summer, just on a tour, just 2 days, just gave a lecture, and I said, wow, I just fell in love with the city. It's so beautiful. I said, I'd love to come back and think with you a little bit.
Great.
So they picked up my idea of, I want to come back and think. They picked up my idea of exploring. I think if people pick up your ideas, if they're so open, it's my leadership to give back and to come and engage.
That's fantastic. So what other things have you been working on in your time in Christchurch?
So the first week was I just went all around and explored. I went to a school with kids. I went to the commerce. I went to the hoteliers. I went to the public sector, the private sector, everything. I just went exploring with my family. To the gondola. I don't know if you've been to Christchurch, but
beautiful city.
It's a beautiful. I went punting. I went to the gondola. I went to the Antarctic Center. I went, all over to Sumner. I just went. I went to the casino. I went all over. You won't believe. I went to the markets, Sunday market, Saturday market, Richton's house. I mean, I think I know Christchurch a little bit better than most of the people there. Because first of all, I'm an explorer in my heart. But I also thought that I can't be a thinker in residence and do my job if I don't go and really explore and research and listen. I always talk about listening to your residents. I can't just come with my ideas if I don't listen to the people.
Right, and this is something that you've just given a talk at the University of Auckland, and a lot of the message that you were giving was the municipality especially needs to listen to the citizens. That's sounds relatively easier in a city like Tel Aviv with 450,000 residents. In a city of Auckland with 3 times that many, do you see greater or lesser challenges, and how do you see that manifesting in Christchurch, for example, or the difference between New Zealand and Israel?
I think a city like New York with 8 million and a city like Beijing with 20 million, they all have to listen to their residents. Of course, the listening would be with different tools and with different time measures and with different quantity and quality, but the city is there for its residents, not for us. Just like in a family, I have to listen to my kids in order to understand that just because I'm the parent and I've got the authority and the responsibility doesn't mean it's up to me to decide. Same thing with the city. I think we've got the responsibility, but and we've got the authority, of course, but we have to listen. We have the responsibility to listen.
Right, no, regardless of size. And so I want to ask you a question about who you have listened to and learned from the most. Who are your mentors and people that you look up to?
Everyone, all over. I mean, I just go every month to a different city, and in each city I learn something else, and I get to know someone else. Today I got to know your designer champion. I'm sure I'll be in touch with him later on. Sometimes it's an art gallery, sometimes it's a museum, sometimes it's a school, it's a mayor, it's, when I was in Moscow, I listened to Putin. It was interesting. I would never be able I would listen to Putin the way I listened to him there talking about urbanism. It doesn't mean when you listen, it doesn't mean you agree.
Sure.
But you listen and you reflect and you understand and you learn where you want to go. Whether you want to go just the opposite way or you want to go the same way or whatever. But you listen. We're always very, very focusing on our talk, which I'm also there. I also like to talk. I don't want to be, But I know that without listening, I can't give a real good talk.
Right. And so another question that I want to ask, bringing it back to the story of Israel and New Zealand. Obviously, you're Israeli from Tel Aviv, and you've brought a lot of that down, particularly to Christchurch. What do you see as the similarities and differences that are most beneficial for our two countries?
So usually I don't talk about countries. I will do that because I think it's important, but I'm a real city person. I'm an urban person, and I think it's an urban era. It's about New York, Tokyo, Oakland, and Tel Aviv, and it's not about Israel, New Zealand, USA, or USSR. But having said that, let's go into that issue. I think both Tel Aviv and Israel and New Zealand are isolated in a way. You're an island at the end of the world. We're an island, not a real island, but surrounded by countries that don't precisely want to, don't choose to collaborate with us. So both of our young people, when they're like 20 years old, feel that they have to go out. I think this is good. The question is, do we bring them back? But the need to go outside and learn and explore, I think it's great. But this is the similar things. Then there's lots of things that are not similar. Culture, the beauty. Your country is so beautiful. I mean, like New Zealand is just, you go around and your heart goes out. Everything is designed perfectly. The nature is so beautiful. The colors, the flowers, you're in a dreamland. I go in the morning when I'm in Christchurch, I go out of my house and I go to the city, and on the way there's the Avon River and there's beautiful girls going to school with their Scottish long skirts and the daffodils, which are just now blossoming. It's a movie. I feel I'm in a Harry Potter movie.
So you'd like to take some of the New Zealand scenery back to Israel, potentially?
No. I'm a true Israeli. I love Israel. You won't believe how much. As a young girl, I was brought up in the States for 2 years, and my heart is totally in Israel. That's where I belong. That's where my identity. I love the desert of Israel. I love the north of Israel. I love everything. I love the smells, the music. To Rosh Hashanah, our New Year's Eve, the Sunday night. Not to be at home is terrible, but I love going exploring, and I love wherever I go. So I do think I'm a privileged person. I do think we are privileged in the times that we are. The world is so beautiful. There's food. I know there's hunger. I know, but most of the people that I relate to, and I don't talk about higher class. I'm talking about us, students in universities. People that are really trying hard. Nobody made me. I did what I did with my 10 fingers and with my thoughts and with my desire and passion. So I feel, yes, I'm there. I'm in that era.
It's wonderful, and it's a privilege to have you with us. I have a final question for you that touches on something that you tweeted in early 2016. You said that Israel has, quote, a long way to go towards gender equality, and I wondered in the 2 and a bit years since that, how you've seen progress or not, and what your view is with regards to that in terms of Israel and the rest of the world.
So, as you mentioned before, I think I'm really a privileged woman. To be wherever I want, to do whatever I want. And I sit on boards all over and I get invited all over. But having said that, almost every table of decisions that I come to lacks the number of women that are needed the way I see it to get better decisions. I'm not a feminine supporter. It's not the issue of men against women. I just think that to get better decisions, we need both gender around the table. And I think we're not there yet, not in Israel, not in New Zealand, although I know that New Zealand were the first ones to give women the vote with Kate Shepherd. And I know so many things. And also in Israel, we're very equal. But then that's saying and talking. But facts is when I sat today around the table, there were no women decision makers. When I sit in boards all over, usually we don't have women, or we have one or two. When I have a city summit or a talk or a convention or whatever, you always have men. Sometimes one woman sneaks in. So the numbers are always like 80-90% men and 10 to 20%, if at all, women. I'm very lucky now and privileged to sit on the Haifa port, and I'm so happy to see that it changed over there. The chairman really just brought one more woman, and port is just so opposite of a feminine. So I do see the change in the gender issue. But I think when I was young, I thought it was just, every woman should, or every person should just do whatever he thinks. I think I tweeted that in 2016 when I started understanding my role as a leader, not only as a manager, and that I need to promote things so that everybody will sit around the table. And when I was, before I was sitting on the Haifa Port board, I sat on the Amidar board, that's the National Housing Company. And over there, again, only men, and only men giving service, but lots of women, very low quality, getting service. And what happened there on the meetings between a man giving service and a woman that needs, it's not even decision making, it's really gender issue. And I was first one to put it on the table and say, don't kid me around. I know there's issues here. I have two girls, now they're 25, 23. 2 years ago they were 21, 23. Both of them in Israel, living in the best family and best support, had sexual harassment. How do you call it? Harassment. Thank God not a terrible one, but an issue. So we don't talk about it, we hide it. But if you ask every woman, although it's not politically correct now, in her background, she has it. And this is something that, again, we have to put it on the table. It's okay. We're developing, we understand that it's not part of our life and it's not the way we should act, but still, just hiding it away and not talking about it won't solve anything. So this is why I tweeted it. Me personally, I'm very privileged. I really feel that I do a lot, but I understand that it's part of my role to speak about it, to take it out of the darkness, and then it will improve and get better.
Well, I hope things do improve, and it's a privilege to have you here with us. Hila Oren is the CEO of the Tel Aviv Foundation and the Thinker in Residence for Christchurch City. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.